typical kid, if you can imagine, in college with an afro where I had to turn my head sideways to go in and out of the room, and a black leather coat and the whole 9 yards. Those difficult times, Scouts were very difficult, and politically they were difficult times on every university campus, and especially Madison.
The drum corps activity certainly was not immune to the racial strife that tore across America in the late 50s and early 60s. Perhaps no one knows that any better than DCI Hall of Famer Jim Elvord. You see, drum corps and the Madison Scouts were deep in his DNA, as were the challenges that came with it, as was a lifelong respect for a drum corps pioneer named C.H. Beebe.
Yeah, it's a very famous story. My Uncle Rich and Harry Hamilton, who were both black, were in the Corps in '57, and C.H. Beebe took the Corps to a restaurant in Washington, outside of Washington, D.C., and they went in for dinner, and somebody indicated that they wouldn't feed all the kids in the Corps because some of them were black, so they ordered food, and the Corps walked out.
Things were not all that different when it came Jim's time to march in the early 60s.
As you probably know, Steve, back, and I could go all the way back into the history of the Corps, that there were issues from a race standpoint with a lot of the drum corps, especially in the Midwest. The only drum corps in the Midwest that were integrated were the Madison Scouts. We had, during my years, we had 6 guys that joined. The Kilties had a substitute drummer, and the Racine Scouts had a substitute horn player. So for those early years, my mother, in order to be in the Corps, she told C.H. Beebe that we could be in, but my brothers and I that were in, and all the other mothers said the same thing for their kids, is that we could be in the Corps, but wherever we went, we had to stay with C.H. Beebe. So in those early years, I got to meet Father Kimmer, I got to meet Don Warren, I got to meet a lot of the old guard, because whenever we went someplace, we'd go to Garfield and we'd bring the nasty cheese in the back of the bus, and they'd give us, all the way from Wisconsin, they'd give us flashlights, and we'd go and stay at somebody's house, and it was always at someone like the Good Father at Garfield, and the whole 9 yards that way. I also had a job at that time, which I think you'll get a kick out of. I had an ability to work on cars. I was very good at cars. And CH at that time in his life was already to a point where he would lose his keys about every other week. And I would be called off the bus to take a pair of pliers and go around the solenoid and start his car for him. I bet you I did that 5 times in my lifetime. Now maybe they could have said, we got the kid in the drum corps, that way he's not going to be on the street stealing cars, but I kept that skill up.
Well, as you raise that racial note within the Scouts themselves, did you feel accepted? Were you just one of the gang?
Well, let me put it this way. When I came up to the big corps in '63, I came up with 27 guys, and there was probably maybe a total of 58 to 60 guys, maybe in the whole corps, or maybe 70 or something. I mean, there weren't too many. So we literally popped in, and I was strong enough to get through all the initiations, and my mother didn't say anything, and my father didn't say anything when they came to pick me up, and they'd see me with my Malcolm X glasses on, and I'd come off the buses, and there'd be 2 globs of shaving cream where my glasses were, and they were good with it, and I said, I can deal with all this. So in answer to your question, it was never an issue, and by the time my 3rd year had come around, I'm an old guy, so I'm one of the guys that's pushing to stop that kind of stuff, and we actually did. So that was never an issue with the Madison Scouts.
Jim Elvord went on to teach that legendary Scouts horn line and had a major hand in that 1975 DCI World Championship. A full circle, colorblind moment.